The Marvels. It's just come out. I went to see it on Saturday. I have mixed emotions about this film. I kind of liked it in some respects, but then I could not really get away from the fact that there was a lot of things wrong with the film in terms of editing, its tone of voice, and also just a really lackluster bad guy with really weird agenda, and it just didn't fit for me. The good points on this film, some of it is really fun. There are certain fight moments in the film that are really cool and well put together. I think Kamala Khan is one of the big standouts in this film, especially her interaction with her parents, also her interactions with Captain Marvel. I found her to be really captivating and interesting. She had a different perspective on the world. Certainly in the TV series, if you've seen Miss Marvel, you're used to how she is. I haven't seen all of it. I kind of dropped off about 2 episodes in. But then there's also another character in this film, Monica Rambeau, and she's fine. She tries to explain everything all the time. There is actually a moment in the film where I was like, how the hell do you know what's going on here? Like, she just explains away a lot of stuff. And that's what I feel like this film is doing a lot of all the time. It's trying to explain itself. If a film has to do that so very regularly throughout the process, you've got a bad film on your hands, and I'm sorry to say it, The Marvels is a bad film. It's so messy. It's so tonally, like, all over the place. There are really cool, hard-hitting moments in this film that are life lessons in hero worship and how when you meet your heroes, they're not exactly going to live up to your expectations. But it's also about growing up, and the Kamala Khan character is really a big part of that. And some of the standout kind of moments in the film is where she's having to learn that you can't save everyone. Sometimes think a bit seriously rather than, you know, joking around all the time. But then she's teaching the other two to kind of relax a little and to enjoy themselves. And so it's really cool in that respect. But then everything going on around them is kind of like a bit weird. They're trying to stop someone who is like creating portals to steal resources from different planets to fuel her own planet. It's a bit of a ridiculous concept, and the way she goes about it to kind of get back at Captain Marvel, who has annihilated their planet. And she did something that was off screen, that wasn't in Captain Marvel. It hasn't been seen before. And so the film has to explain a storyline that you've never seen before. Because we don't understand fully why Captain Marvel made that decision, because there hasn't been something around it, then you don't give a shit about the motivations of the antagonist, Dar-Ben, who is this woman who has grills in her teeth that make her look like a gangster rapper, and she has this hammer that belonged to someone in Guardians of the Galaxy who got killed, and it still has the power of one of the stones that was put in it, but the stones were destroyed in Endgame. So it's like, it's a bit confusing in that respect. It's just like, I don't know why this has happened. So it just raises far too many questions and doesn't really answer them. It's also one of those films that's full of ridiculous conveniences that really do my head in these sorts of films. Case in point, early on in the film, when the 3 characters have their switch for the first time. They switch places every time they use their powers at the same time. When they switch, one of them's in space and all their clothes go over, but the spacesuit doesn't change, and the girl, Kamala Khan, ends up in this spacesuit. And I'm like, how does that work? That seems awfully convenient. Obviously, the writers don't want Kamala Khan's character just exploding in space and that's the end of her. Didn't the writers think of this at this point and think, maybe we shouldn't do that? That's a bit silly. I know this is Marvel, and I know they get away with shit like this, but from a writing standpoint, it pulls you out of the film. That moment happened, and I was like, huh? The worst thing about it is it jumps forward very quickly when they've switched, because that's a big deal, like, for Kamala Khan. It's like she switched with Monica Rambeau and she's in space, and then all of a sudden, boom, she's back at home. And there's no explanation as to how she got back home. They're just there again. It's this moment in the film where I was like, whoa. Did I miss something? And I was paying attention, and there are moments in the film that feel like that it just goes, oh, we're doing this now. oh, we're doing this now, we're moving on. It feels like this was a much longer film and they just, with a hatchet, they just went bang and just cut out pieces of it. The overarching story would be enough to tell a story, but for some reason this film also wants to interject some things with the Flurkins, which are cats that have tentacles that come out of their mouths and they eat people. There's this side story on the space station that Nick Fury is on, where there's loads of these cats or Flurkins everywhere, and it gets a bit weird, and I think it thinks it's weird and fun, and so therefore you should enjoy it. I hate it when films come up with these little side things that have no consequence to the main part of the plot. Why is it in there? Why didn't you cut this bit out and like explain more of the rest of the plot that you were going on? I'm kind of glad they didn't, because the plot is just a generic, oh, you did this to my planet and it's dying, so I'm going to do this to you. And that is my motivation, and that's it. And it's just so dull. There's a lot of hype around this movie now because of things that happen after the story. The last trailer that they released is very underhanded in how it's trying to get you to go to the cinema. It's saying, prepare for the next thing, like the next big thing. And Nick Fury going, they're here, and all this kind of stuff. They're here, there's no one. There is no one coming. And there is no one interesting coming either. It's not even in the main film. In the after credit scene, or the mid credit scene, sorry, there is a moment, and I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's to do with another part of Marvel. It doesn't link up at all to anything that we've been seeing on like the TV shows on Disney Plus, like Loki, which actually season 2 of Loki I kind of like, or Ant-Man, Quantumania, or anything to do with extended kind of, you know, different universes. There is a bit at the end where it talks about the different universe, but that moment in itself has an annoying moment in it where I was just like, why do films get away with this bullshit? Monica Rambeau's character goes to the other side into the different universe and then closes the door, therefore trapping herself in it. Why can't you do it from the other side? What is stopping you? Why? Like, I just, that kind of shit winds me up. And so there is a lot of that. I know I've ranted a little about some little things. There's just nothing really overly inspiring here except for Kamala Khan and her interaction with Captain Marvel. I think Brie Larson is a bit better in here than she was in Captain Marvel. I feel like she doesn't really give a shit anymore about this character, and it kind of is telling in the way that she portrays this character. But she does have some growth in this film. She changes a bit. I think all the characters involved have some kind of change. At the end of the day, the bad guy isn't a big part of the future of the MCU. She's kind of meh, like just meh. Like, in fact, sorry, I sound like a sheep, but this film is meh. That's the Marvels, in my opinion. Bloated, but very run-of-the-mill, not really doing anything special. Marvel could have absolutely be throwing a middle finger to all its critics here. They had the opportunity, they haven't taken it, and they bottled it, basically, in my opinion, and they've decided to go, oh, let's make a film that prefaces something else that is completely disconnected from it, rather than making a really, really great film that ties into a greater narrative. I don't think this ties into a greater narrative in any respect. It's just fluff. So that's it. That's all I have to say on the Marvels. I'm sorry this is a bit of a negative one, but when I don't like films, I'm going to be like that. Regardless of what you thought of this film, please let me know in the comments, because it's always good to hear different opinions. It's just my point of view on these films. Let me know yours. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.